We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live boxing ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live. David Benavidez gives his official reaction to Dmitry Bivol going the same way as Canelo and ducking him for a fight. In this video, I want to break down what he had to say and really just get unpacked. Yeah. Enjoy. David Benavidez says, and I quote, "Just got the news that Dmitry Bivol decided to vacate his title instead of fighting me. Now that makes me the WBC world champion at light heavyweight, 175 pounds. This is not the ideal way for me to become world champion, but nevertheless, I am now the WBC light heavyweight champ, and I intend on putting the best fights." Well stated. Now, I've already made a video about the initial news. I definitely believe that Dmitry Bivol fully ducked David Benavidez. In fact, you see my comment on the screen. I don't mince my words. I speak very clearly, and I mean what I say. I believe he definitely ducked. First of all, who even wants to see a third fight with Benavidez and Bivol? To the point where, let me rephrase that. You would rather, instead of Dmitry Bivol and David Benavidez for undisputed, his mandatory at the time before he ducked him, you would rather that not happen on PBC to watch on DAZN Benavidez versus Bivol Part 3 when we just watched it 2 times back to back. Literally, we just seen the same fight. It was in like October or so, and then they ran it back in February. You guys and media and the people, the paid off media that work with Ring and Turkey and all this, they tried their best to make this into a big event and make it appear like this was the biggest fight card we had ever seen in boxing, which to me sounded ridiculous. Don King, when he was around, he would throw star-studded boxing fights on with legendary fighters routinely at Caesar's Palace and all this stuff. So I never understood this, but this is what you guys decided to do in order to try to hype it up. And despite all of that, the fight still flopped in America, period. They said it did 45,000 pay-per-view buys in America. It's coming on at a time where he got crazy hand speed. It's crazy. With the winning gloves. Hey, low-key, Benavidez look in better shape right here in these recent pictures than he did at his last weigh-in. I think he kind of entered the Morrell camp a bit heavy, but he looked like he got his weight down. He looked like he got his weight down for sure. So anyway, you guys tried your best to hype up February 22nd. It was cool. It came and went, but ultimately it flopped. It didn't do no numbers in America. And I've already talked about that. I've already made posts about that. I'm looking for it right now. I post a lot. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. Here we are. Flop. 45,000 pay-per-view buys in the USA for Benavidez Bivol. So all those fights that they had on there, Shakur Stevenson, right? And you had initially Dubois, he pulled out. All these fights, you guys said it was the card of the century, and it still flopped. I have no doubt in my mind that if Benavidez were to fight Bivol next, it would be a bigger fight than a third fight with this. Let's be real. And I want one of you guys, one of you suckers in the comment section to challenge me. If you did a back-to-back rematch and it did 45,000 pay-per-view buys, right? And then the fight wasn't even as good as the first Better Be of Bivol fight, in my opinion, right? What do you think is going to happen in the third fight? How do you make it bigger and better? You already loaded up the undercard and put all these names on there. 2 of the fights fell apart last minute with Dubois and Parker and Shakur and Schofield, but you still had Shakur on there. You still had Parker on there, right? You brought in Bacoli, ruined his momentum, right? How do you make Better Be of Bivol 3 a big fight? Like, it's cool. They're competitive. It's kind of one mode. It's just I'm over it, you know. And my thing is this: Bivol could have easily fought his mandatory. Look, you see all these WBC belts he had. Fight one guy, if you're confident, beat him, Benavidez, and then you can fight Better Biv, and then you would retain all the belts. Like, it's so funny to me, and I need somebody to explain. Somebody got to explain. I'm gonna say this again. Listen to what Boxing Ego is saying and tell me how what is happening makes more sense. Bivol knew he had to fight the WBC's mandatory. It was common knowledge. I made videos about it. WBC was transparent about it. So Bivol knew beating Better Biv in the second fight, becoming undisputed, and having that WBC title, I literally made videos before the fight even happened in February saying the winner was going to have to fight David Benavidez, right? Remember, David Benavidez even flew to Saudi Arabia to be ringside because he knew he was going to, or supposed to, get the winner, right? This is how it played out. So he was ringside in Saudi Arabia because he knew that he was supposed to get the winner. But then when we got a winner, Bivol, he decides to vacate. That is a duck. That is a duck. What was the point of David Benavidez going to Saudi Arabia and being ringside and all of the reports saying the winner had to face him? And now Eddie Hearn and them are talking about, oh, we gave our word that we would fight Better Biv a third time. Why? Why? Again, listen to what Boxing Ego is saying. Fight, because the Bivol fanatics, they're saying that, oh, David Benavidez will get cooked. All right, but I know people who were at the sparring, and that's not what happened at the sparring. And I get it, it's sparring, but I'm just saying, where are you getting this confidence from? Plus, Bivol got mileage on him from them Better Biv fights where he took major punches from a knockout artist. So y'all know what was going to happen. Y'all really know deep down inside, but let me keep cooking. The point I'm making is, one, why did Benavidez go to Saudi Arabia? Why was it reported that he was going to fight the winner if they already had a third fight locked in? That's one question. My second question is, the Boxing Ego approach is fight your mandatory, right? David Benavidez, have a bigger fight than what Bivol Better Biv Part 3 is capable of producing, right? And all you have to do is get past Benavidez. Then you would retain the undisputed titles. And then your very next fight, you can fight Artur Better Biv again for undisputed. But doing it this way, the way that Eddie Hearn and Turkey and Dmitry Bivol have decided to do, you have to lose the WBC belt for not fighting your mandatory, and now you have a full champion in David Benavidez. So that significantly hurts a Bivol and Beterbiev 3 fight. So let's keep cooking. I am really the best in the business, and it's not even close. And I keep proving it. This is so easy for me after all these years. Beterbiev Bivol had trouble selling the first 2 times, and it was for all the belts. You guys lie in my comment section and say, oh, belts matter. I've been telling you belts don't matter. People don't care about the belts like that, to the point where a fight is colossal because it's for all the belts, right? Proof of that would be Beterbiev Bivol 1 and 2 struggling to sell and make money and put on huge events. Not good fights, because they were good fights, solid fights. But I'm talking about money-making fights and events like Mayweather, Canelo, Mayweather, De La Hoya, Mayweather, Pacquiao. Fights that are good fights that actually made money too, right? That are profitable, right? And the reality is the first 2 fights for all belts could not sell. So how is a third fight when people like myself and others feel that Bivol ducked, and we already seen 2 back-to-back fights? Now it's not going to be for undisputed because Benavidez didn't get his opportunity and got the WBC belt. So who wants to watch Beterbiev Bivol 3? What is the selling point when the first 2 fights were complete because they were for undisputed, but now things happen and you keep running the same play, so now the fights aren't for undisputed, right? It's like, it's not going to work. Fury versus Usyk was undisputed, and then the rematch was undisputed, right? So it makes sense, like when you're fighting for undisputed. Actually, Daniel Dubois might have gotten the belt in between that. But needless to say, the bottom line remains: Beterbiev Bivol did not sell. Was not a big fight as is, right? Was not a big fight as is with all the belts. Now you're taking away one of the incentives, the WBC belt, and now they're fighting for 3 belts instead of 4. And it's probably going to happen in Saudi Arabia again. It's going to continue to be probably even lesser desired now. Versus if you would have mixed it up, then Bivol beating Benavidez, that would have boosted, he would have got a boost from that. Because Benavidez is undefeated, and we know Canelo ducked him. That goes without saying. And he's a formidable fighter. So to me, my plan clearly makes a lot more sense, because 1, Benavidez was the mandatory. Now, all mandatories are not great fights. This one was. And it would have been a bigger event than Benavidez fighting someone else or Bivol fighting Beterbiev, right? So it made all the sense in the world. And then you can still revisit Bivol versus Beterbiev 3. And if Bivol beat Benavidez, he would have all the belts still. So you would at least have Bivol coming off a great win if he can beat Benavidez. Plus, he would have all his belts intact. But doing it this way is fragmented, because now he's entering the fight with only 3 belts. And for a fight like that, what can you do to make it bigger? From the first fight to the second fight, you added names to the undercard. There's literally nothing you could do to make this fight bigger. So I said it from the beginning, I really would have preferred Bivol versus Benavidez for undisputed, because the Beterbiev fight is still there. He's 40 years old. You know what I mean? Let him rest or take a tune-up, and you know, you could have got Benavidez Bivol out the way, and we could have revisited the trilogy after the fact. Canelo Triple G, they had spacing. Like, bro, you guys put a lot on Turkey's involvement in boxing, and I'm being real, I'm not seeing it. You guys talking about Turkey save boxing. I don't see it. How do you save boxing when you're actively getting in the way of meaningful fights that are bigger and better fights or bigger events? Like Canelo was about to fight Jake Paul. Say what you want, it would have been a big event that had a lot of spotlight. You've seen Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, right? So it would have been a big event and it made a lot of money and it would have been here in America. Instead, the Saudis and Turkey lured Canelo into a 4-fight deal, 3 of which he's fighting overseas in Saudi Arabia in the kingdom. And now he's fighting William Skull literally in a month and nobody's talking about it. I guarantee you, if he would have fought Jake Paul, people would be talking about the fight. Whether you say it's a circus fight, novelty fight, I don't care about none of that. It would have been a bigger fight than Canelo fighting William Skull. And it would have been right here in America where Canelo really made a name for himself, not in Saudi Arabia. So the people saying Turkey saved boxing, I don't see what you're talking about. That's one example. Canelo being pulled from a Jake Paul Netflix fight to fight in Saudi Arabia on DAZN against a very unknown William Skull. Now, another thing, he kind of threatened Bivol to not fight David Benavidez and, know what side his bread is buttered on. And now Bivol relinquishes his belt, vacates his belt. Now David Benavidez is in the same situation. And it's so annoying because these dudes are fake in the boxing game. They are truly fake. They know Benavidez is the Mexican monster. They know he's formidable, but everybody got all these excuses, and then they try to throw it on David Benavidez for not getting the looks and opportunities, but you see people are playing keep away. It's not David Benavidez. It's not his fault that Canelo has every excuse under the sun to not fight him, but can make the time to fight Avni Yildirim and Billy Joe Saunders and guys like William Skull and even the welterweight Crawford. How is that Benavidez's fault? He called out Canelo. He hyped it up. He had me and other people wanting to see the fight. He proved himself with his vodstick wins, and David Morrell Jr. was a great win for him, right? Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell. So he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Demetrius Andrade, another sensational win. Nobody stopped Demetrius Andrade, tricky Olympian in Southpaw, right? So I don't get what people are talking about. You can't blame this on Benavidez. And then you have these fans like, oh, Canelo would destroy Benavidez. Bivol would destroy Benavidez. Okay, then why are they not fighting him? If you can make a bigger fight, a bigger event that would appease the public, and also you have no chance of losing because you'll, quote, destroy David Benavidez, then why not make the fight? Why would you rather fight Better Biv in a lesser event than fight Benavidez if Benavidez is easy work? So you guys keep sleeping on Benavidez like, oh, he don't got this and he don't got that. Then why is nobody fighting him? He's like one of the top most avoided people in boxing right now. And you guys are trying to weasel out of it and make it make sense and somehow shove the blame on Benavidez because these other people are avoiding him and not giving him an opportunity, and somehow this is his fault and he could have done something different. It's pathetic. Bro, boxing has some of the worst people in it and some of the worst fans. You guys literally allow Canelo to fight William Skulls of the world and you don't care. You're like, cool, I'm with that. I'm gonna watch it. But then Benavidez is not worthy to fight Canelo, right? Bivol just fought when Better Biv got injured. He just fought some random dude on the undercard. But Benavidez does not deserve it, and he was in position and ranked. Like, boxing is so fake, bro. That's why I just get my money and get out. It's so fake. I don't rock with fake people, fake things. 1 minute they tell you, oh, earn your spot, work your way up the rankings, earn a name for yourself, improve your resume. And then when guys like Benavidez do that, worked his way up the rankings, got good placement with the WBC, Number one, the fight got ordered, kept improving his resume, kept delivering performance-wise, kept stepping up the names. And then now they say, oh, why should Canelo fight you? But then they're talking about Canelo fighting Skull and Hamza Shiraz and Chris Eubank Ben winner. You guys are clowns, bro. Straight like that. Straight up clowns. And you're not going to like my channel. I'm telling you straight like that. If you're okay with Turkey's plan to have Canelo fight Skull, Crawford, Conor Ben, Eubank winner, Hamza Shiraz, and fights like that, but then you're sitting up here making excuses why Benavidez doesn't deserve an opportunity at Canelo or Bivol, you are a clown, sir. We unpack.